Recording.
Welcome, everyone. We'll get started in a couple of minutes, just giving a moment for people to join.
Hi, everybody. It's so nice to see all these faces and names pop up on the screen. Great. Well, I think the popcorn style is starting to settle as Asher continues to let our friends in. But I think because we have a packed agenda today, we'll go ahead and get started. My name is Kimberly Gordon, and I am the Senior Director of Cultural Arts and Adult Programs at the PJCC. And I'm joined today by a colleague just right upstairs. So this part is so much fun. And I'll have Amanda introduce herself in just a second. But I wanted just to say that one of the feedback we got from the crowd was when the Arts and Culture did a crossover episode with Development, that was a big hit. And so one, because I like crossover episodes in television in general, and because where I studied with Michael Kaiser in arts management was good art well marketed, that this is the formula for what we all need. And so I went to my friend and neighbor and colleague Amanda, who happens to chair the peer community for marketing, and said, what do you think about collaborating and bringing these two groups together? Because we need each other and we rely on each other, and we want to learn from each other. And so that is how today's group happened. And now I will turn it over to Amanda to introduce herself.
Thanks, Kimberly. I am so excited to see so many familiar faces and so many unfamiliar faces because we get to do this collaboration, and we're still debating about who is the Flintstones and who is the Jensens, but I claim Flintstones. So I'm Amanda Loveland. I am our Chief Marketing Officer here at the PJCC, working with Kimberly day in or day out. And as Kimberly mentioned, I chair our marketing cohort, and I'm just super excited to be able to do a crossover episode and figure out how we can bring more joy and more efficiency to both of our lives. I wanted to take a moment before I introduce our amazing speakers to do a quick conversation in the chat. By the way, thanks Katie's AI note taker. I hope those notes will be shared with all of us. And if you can put in the chat just whether or not you brought your arts and culture or your marketing cohort, your partner in crime, to join us today. It would be great to know how many of you are here with your colleague that also works at your JCC. And if you didn't bring your colleague, how you're feeling about going in this alone and bringing a lot back to your community. Go ahead and put the name of your JCC if you don't have it next to your name. We'd love to know where you're coming from.
And while you're doing that, I'm just going to say that Amanda is totally Jetsons with all of her AI and technology. So I would debate on that one.
Well, I really love Pebbles, so we can have a conversation. Today, Kimberly and I are joined by some amazing folks that are going to share both some really cool programming as well as how they are working together to make sure that all of this programming is heard and visited by the community. Udi Ehrman is here with us today from the Marlene Meyerson JCC in Manhattan. He is the director of the Lambert Center for Arts, and he'll be presenting on the marketing and programming collaboration for the Books That Changed My Life Festival. This annual festival takes place at the JCC in Manhattan each year between January and February. And I, for one, am really excited to hear some more about it. And then joining us from the JCC of Greater Buffalo, yes, it is a New York heavy day, is Alex Eady, the Senior Director of Advancement, and Jim Gibbons, the Digital Marketing Producer. They'll be speaking about the Jewish Repertory Theater of Western New York. This theater is a professional theater company within the JCC of Buffalo. And over the last 3 years since the pandemic, because of their collaboration, it has grown to incredible new heights, really reinvigorating the theater company and the JCC. It is entering its 22nd season this October, and it is positioned for continued growth and success. So I am just incredibly excited to hear from both Manhattan and Buffalo about what they're doing and figure out how we can bring some of that collaboration back home. So thanks for joining us, guys. I think, oh, everyone, let's just take a quick look in that chat. Awesome. Thanks for, looks like there's a lot of people flying solo, but are planning to come back with ideas. So we'll have an opportunity for that later to do a little bit more of takeaways. And since we are on a tight timeline, why don't we launch with you, Udi? We'd love to hear more about what you're doing in Manhattan.
Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. It's so nice to be here. Thank you for inviting me to talk to you and do a little showcase, a case study about our book festival called The Books That Changed My Life. So I'm going to start by showing you some pictures from the festival, and then I'm going to talk about the program and marketing plan. Let me just hold on. Let me just share my screen. Can you all see? I can see you, so
You
I
can.
hopefully...
It looks
You
great.
see it.
Oh, okay, perfect. So Books That Changed My Life Festival, as you mentioned, it's happening every January and February here at the JCC. Our building is at the Upper West Side on 76th Street. We have a big, tall building of 12 floors, and it's all JCC attractions. So during the festival, all of our lobby, which is what you see here, this is half of the lobby, I'll show you the second half soon, is becoming like a pop-up library. So people can come, they can read books. This is our life library. As you can see, it's Book That Changed My, and then the library is the shape of the word life. And people can take book, they can bring it back, they can whatever they want. Kids, it's usually full with kids and nannies and people who are just sitting there on the bean bags and reading. It's really, really packed during those winter months. Right here on the left, you see we had the wall asking people to write what's the book that changed their life. Here's some highlights. The festival is taking for 56 days. We had about 2,400 attendees for the different events. We have 40 different programs. We're selling the book. So this year we sold 245, 17 author conversation, 13 children and family event, music, film. We also have culinary. And this, for example, is a lecture about fashion in books. So that was here's like a picture of a conversation with Ruth Rachel, who was the New York Times restaurant critic and a very famous author, with Nancy Silverton, who is a very famous chef. A puppet show like during the day in the lobby. Another one of the fashion. Oh, what's going on? This is the other half of the lobby. So we do like an exhibit every year. This exhibit, we talk to different AI artists, which I found fascinating, and I gave them the first line of different books, and this is what they were inspired, and the art they created based on the first line of this specific book. People looking at it. This is me. Here we have a little cart, like an ice cream cart, where we sell books at the end of each event. and then the author signing the books. An event we had with Judy Gold that was about superhero, a Jewish superhero, like was Superman circumcised? It was a whole thing. And this is an event about a book about RBG. These photographers got the chance from the family to photograph all of the neck pieces that RBG used to wear, and they gave a lecture about it. It was fascinating. Done. Something is, oh, okay. Here are some of the stickers I showed you earlier. And we even had a circus that was based on a book for the kids. So I'm going to stop sharing now, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how did I collaborate on that with our marketing team. So I'm starting around September. So that gives me like a whole 4 months or even before to work with them. So what I do is, first of all, me and the marketer that is handling all the art marketing, we going to everyone who works at the JCC. And when I'm saying everyone, it's from swimming coaches, nursery school teachers, all the different centers that we have here. And we talk to them, we show them, we talk to them about last year's festival, we're telling them what we have in mind for next year. And we ask them if they have any idea, if they have any thought, if they have any wishful guest, author, things that they want to do. I just go to really almost every employee that I can find. And I'm trying to get people involved. That is my first key, because I found that this is what makes it so successful. As much as I involved other people, I will also have access to all the different email lists, social media accounts, and more potential audience. Because here at the JCC, each center has its own email list, and they have different social media accounts. So if I get them on board, then I get their audience, and they work with me to publish for the audience. And when we were prepping for this conversation, so we're told, well, Manhattan probably have a big marketing budget. So I'm just showing you things that cost no money. So for example, this, I didn't spend any money on that, and I don't have almost any marketing budget. Then we do, let's say in October, when I already know the main programs that I'm going to have, I'm going to do something that's called the 5, as identify the 5 events that should be pushed by the marketing, right? We have more than 40, but I choose 5 events. Those events have a potential for a wider audience, events that have potential for income and revenue for the JCC. And I identify them and start working on them. Also, a word about partners here for me in the festival. Our marketer or me will contact Upper West Side, institutions, New York institution that can be related, to one of the 5. For example, FIT is the Fashion Institute of Technology. So I contact them about the lecture that I had about the fashion and books, and just talk to, lecturer professors, their marketing, trying to get them interested in that, the Kaufman Music Center, and so on and so forth. So still getting partners working with me. Then we start to have a plan. It's promotion through the JCC event. So during those leading months, November, December, even into January, I'm identify with my marketing team what events are happening in the building, and where can I, come in and do a little thing about the books that changed my life that's coming up. So usually, we have Hanukkah candle lighting. So I brought somebody from the circus to be at the Hanukkah candlelighting. And we had some volunteer opportunity. I will come there, or I'll have somebody come there and just talk for 5 minutes about the festival. Just as many people as I can meet, many events that I can go to, I go and I start promoting. I start getting people excited about the festival. I also do a promotion with the bookseller. Every year we have a bookseller. Last year it was The Strand, very famous bookstore in New York. This year we have a different store called Shakespeare & Co. And I work with them, first of all, for them to have our little bookmarks. So they give it to everybody who buy book at the store that time, get the bookmark that talks about the festival. We also have them putting on the website a page that connects to our page. It's on a schedule. It depends how much they're willing to give. This is how much I'll take, as much as I can. Another thing, I'm in charge, part of the art center here. I'm in charge of all the JCC studios. We have a big ceramic studio, art studio, painting, drawing, craft. So I'm trying to get them involved. For example, last year we did a whole line of coffee mugs, tea mugs called BTCML, which is Book That Changed My Life, ex JCC. And we sold those mugs as a promotion, but it wasn't about selling them out. It's about getting the word out, and people get, the full experience. They get a mug, they could buy tea, and you can imagine, and then sitting with a good book at home, and you got the whole JCC experience in your home. And yes, and eventually we do pay some money, and I will have usually one major ad, maybe like in Time Out or something like that. I still cannot afford like New York Times, but like Time Out. And I have, sponsored social media posts, or will buy Google ads. And there's some like local bloggers that are paid, and they post, things about the festival. So as I said, this is my 10 minutes mark. So it's all about the peers as I see it, whether it's they're from the JCC and outside from the neighborhood from New York. They are the treasure, and I do everything I can to use them, if I can say that. And also the community member that, they're becoming my ambassador, because I'm like, keep talking, like keep meeting them in event, and inviting them, each one by one to those events, and they're becoming my ambassador. And then they go home and they ask their family members and friends to join them for this event or the other event. And basically, this is how I do it.
Udi, thank you so much for sharing. I think we all have a lot of questions, but for the sake of time, we're going to move on to Alex. And if we have time for Q&A at the end, we'll let the audience ask a few of those.
Thank you so much. I'm going to just share my screen. Yeah. See that? Everybody see that okay? All right. So thank you very much for the introduction. And Udi, that was great. We're also doing a book festival that sounds kind of similar. We're giving out bookmarks as well. So great minds think alike on that. So anyway, my name is Alex Eady, and I'm the Senior Director of Advancement here at the JCC in Buffalo. And joining me today is Jim Gibbons, my colleague in our marketing department, who is our digital marketing producer, and you will hear from him shortly. We are glad to have the opportunity to be with you this afternoon to talk about some of the collaboration that we have done between our arts programs and our marketing department, specifically our Jewish Repertory Theater. Oops. So the Jewish Repertory Theater is a program of the JCC of Greater Buffalo. It was founded in 2002, and it is a professional theater company whose mission is to present high-quality plays grounded in Jewish life, themes, and values. Through our productions, audiences explore both the uniqueness of Jewish heritage and cultural experiences, as well as those that are shared with others. Drama illuminates the human condition, and the JRT strives to bring this into focus through the lens of Jewish theater. The Jewish Repertory Theater is theater for everyone. And this right here is an ad from our season that finished in June. We always do 3 plays, 3 main stage productions, and then a couple other various things, some musical cabaret performances, a couple of special engagement things, but this is really the meat, if you will, of our program, are these 3 main stage productions. So that was last year. So like all live events, the JRT was heavily impacted by the pandemic. So in 2020, the season that coincided with the pandemic, we streamed shows. And in 2021, it was our 19th season. We returned to full live performances. And despite a few rescheduled performances due to COVID outbreaks among some of the cast members, that 19th season was really a great success with our 3 main productions, a sold-out musical cabaret performance, and a win at the Artie Awards, which is our local version of the Tonys for local theaters here in Western New York, where we received Best Direction of a Play for Photograph 51, which is depicted here on the screen. So that demonstrates the quality and professionalism of the JRT against our local peer theaters in the area. Although the beginning of that season was a rocky start, audiences were slow to return with masking and vaccine guidance. By the 2nd and 3rd shows, many audience members returned, spurred on by the great reviews in the local news and elsewhere. As we began preparations for our 20th anniversary season, so that would be 2022, we wanted to choose plays that had high name recognition that would help drive subscriptions and sales. The 3 plays we chose were The Chosen, Tuesdays with Morrie, and Barefoot in the Park. We also scheduled a traveling special engagement show, I'm Not a Comedian, I'm Lenny Bruce, which was really highly well received. It was available exclusively to subscribers, and it sold out very quickly. We also changed the pricing model of our subscription to reflect basically that subscribers would get 3 shows for the price of 2, which was our most drastic pricing change in years. So you kind of think to yourself, maybe it's almost like that reverse kind of psychology thing where we were actually making the price of tickets cheaper in an effort to drive more sales, and that worked exceedingly well. As it kind of changed our whole value proposition where subscribers felt they were getting more for their dollar. And in that year, we had our highest subscription numbers ever of 392 season subscribers for the 20th anniversary. And we also refreshed our logo courtesy of our marketing department. So the logo on the front or the beginning of my PowerPoint is like our word mark, but we've changed this logo now, and now we just keep adding the year. So it's JRT 20th season, then we had JRT 21, JRT 22, and on and on. So within those last several years since the pandemic, this is a picture I love. This is a production still, a promotional shot from Sisters-in-Law. It was a show about Ruth Bader Ginsburg and Sandra Day O'Connor and their interactions and friendship on the Supreme Court. And I think one of the highest compliments we got on this picture when people were posting on our Facebook about it was, I thought those were actual photos of them. So high marks to the costuming and makeup departments for that. But anyway, marketing our theater has been a huge focus of the last couple of years, and that's why I think we've been successful. So though it was difficult at the time to have streamed shows and low audiences and everything, I think it really was an opportunity to reflect and reposition for success. So the JRT has always had a loyal audience, but they're aging. And we knew that we wanted to get new folks into the theater, which was critical for future success. So we did a little bit of the following things. As I said, we created that new logo for the theater. We redesigned our ticket brochure and our season announcement mailer. which was really, I think, a welcome change. We redid our website as well, which coincided with our JCC's move to a new CRM platform in the fall of 2022. Another thing that we did is we looked really intently at our mailing list. So for a really long time, we were just sending out season brochures and mailers to thousands of people that maybe at one time 10 years ago said, yes, I'd like to receive information from the JCC, but that just turned into a mailing list of, I don't know, 3,000 or 4,000 people that we would send these brochures to, which is not a great return on investment because the cost of printing that many brochures, mailing, the time, just kind of crazy. So what we did instead is we mailed only to subscribers from the last 3 years, and then we mailed to major donors, legacy donors, past sponsors of the theater and vendors, and then a couple other key volunteer groups, but it was a much smaller list. All the other outreach was done through social media and email only. This targeted approach, we believe, helped us get the brochure and the season announcement in the hands of the right audience instead of people just throwing it directly in the trash. It was people who were all we deemed interested. And with this approach, as I said, we more than doubled those numbers from 21-22. So that was the year we got 392 subscriptions. The year before, so the Photograph 51 year, we had 183 subscriptions. So that was the year right out of the pandemic, and we were like, what are we going to do to continue to grow this? So 392 that next year. And then in the last 2 seasons, we've topped out at over 400 subscribers. This past year, Sisters-in-Law was one of the most successful runs of a JRT show ever, and we sold nearly $20,000 more in individual tickets alone than in the previous year, capitalizing on word of mouth, momentum, and some really good community marketing efforts. So what I believe to be the key to this collaboration is that our communications team is very involved in everything that we do throughout the entire JCC, whether it's the JRT, whether it's camp, whether it's early childhood. They are plugged in, they are everywhere. You go to an event and you will see someone from our communications team there with a camera. We had a 5K this past weekend. Jim was flying the drone. They're just plugged in and everywhere. So that, I believe, is a huge piece of this because they are as much a part of all these events as anybody else who's involved with them. Also, and of course, Jim, he has a background in television news. So we've taken advantage of that. He's created trailers for our shows and for social media. We've taken these wonderful production photos that I've been showing on the screen as we've gone. And I think, at least for the theater, what's been really valuable is telling our story through video storytelling. I think in addition, some of those connections to the local news industry has really helped get the word out because we're able to get regular spots on television, on the radio, various websites, and print materials. As I say, I don't want to take away Jim's thunder because he's going to introduce some of his own work here, but I know that his particular skill set has been a very welcome addition to our team. So I'm going to have him now share some of what he has done and talk a little bit more about his role within marketing and the JRT. So Jim?
Great. Well, hello, everybody. As Alex said, I'm Jim Gibbons, so I'm the digital marketing producer here at JCC Buffalo. So I've been working here at the JCC for 2 years now. Before that, I worked in marketing at a university, and before that, nearly a decade in broadcast news, putting together daily stories of every topic you could ever think of. So my background is video production, creating things of what I would consider to be a high quality and high content, and really caring about the product that's made at the end. So while I specialize in video, I've also become more of a photographer as well, focusing on stills. So that's why at my role here, I'm able to put together both photo and video projects for different things I'm working on. And what is on the screen and what I'm going to have Alex hit play on in a minute is the last trailer that I put together for our show for Crossing Delancey. So while this is a video to help promote that to be used, I'll talk a little bit about how I went to putting this story together and the other elements that went to it as well. So hopefully this will look and sound all right for everybody.
All right.
This is Mind Bubby. Crossing Delancey is a love story, but I think even deeper than that, it's a story about family and how your family wants what's best for you, but maybe they don't always know what's best for you.
Red is a very lucky color. It's good. It's good. You're gonna find money.
She just wants her darling grandchild, Isabel, to get married. Is that such a terrible thing? Yeah. But finding just the right one for her, because she's just a fabulous girl. She's some beauty, huh?
As much as it's a love story for Izzy, it's also a love story about Bubby and Izzy and how much Bubby loves Izzy, how much Izzy loves Bubby. I'm being wooed.
Wooed? Was is wooed? It's just a lovely play. People will leave here just feeling good, you know? That they came to the show.
It is fun, it is full of heart, and they're going to walk away smiling.
Let's put the Bubby to bed.
So that, you know, like as you can see, it's about a minute, 20 seconds. It's just a quick sort of trailer to get people hopefully interested, give them a look as to what the play is going to be like, introduce them to a few of the characters, and but obviously not give away the whole story because you want people to come to the show itself to see the whole thing. So what I usually do is I'll just coordinate with our director of the theater to say when's a good night to come in for one of the rehearsals. Can they get in the costume? And then I'll just do a few interviews with some of the people that are in the show, kind of listen for the sound bites while I'm doing it. And based off of that, I'll, you know, start building a story in my head of what it's going to sound like. And then I'll have them run a few scenes. And so I'll be recording video. I don't just like stay far back and hit record and get one shot. I'm always moving around, trying to change things up so it looks better in the video editing process. And then what I'll also do is have them run the same scene again so I can take photos. So that way we can have both video and photos to be able to use for our marketing of the same type of event. This picture that's on the screen here is just a way that we can use what we produce on local news stations. So Channel 4 is the CBS station here in Buffalo, and they have sort of a daytime talk show thing. So they basically bring in some of the actors to talk about what the show's about, a way of promoting it as well. And then they'll take the content that we send to them and play that on the screen. So they're seeing the photos that I've taken. They'll go along with what's being talked about. And, you know, it's a great way to be able to show what we're creating and not just have people on screen talking, but actually being able to see pictures that hopefully get them excited and interested to want to see the play. We'll do the same thing, not just on TV, but also in print. So we will send photos to, you know, local magazines, different websites, and our partners there in newspaper. And rather than just sending, you know, a synopsis in script form, we can also have some photos to attach with it again to be able to, you know, make it more interesting to the reader that's going to be there. And a nice little perk for me is my name gets to show up in these articles too as the person taking the picture. So that's great. I know I've only got a few seconds left, so I'm just going to kind of wrap up by saying, you know, I think having video and photo is a very important aspect for your marketing. And if you can have someone on your staff that's doing it, then that's even better because you're not paying an outside vendor to come and do the work for you. You know, I work here at the JCC Buffalo, so these videos and these photo shoots don't cost them anything other than me being an employee for them. So I will close it out here. And if there's any Q&A after, well, happy to answer any questions.
I just want to say, oh my goodness, folks, like I want to go to the library. I still want to see Crossing Delancey. Total sell on all of these programs. Like, so whatever you're doing, it's even working among this crowd. Kimberly and I know probably already have a million questions, but we'd love to open it up to all of you. If you have any questions that you want to put in the Q&A or in the chat, go ahead and do so now. And I think we've got, Kimberly, we probably have 5 or 6 minutes for a few questions.
Yeah, we have a couple minutes for a few questions. And I just want to point out while people are thinking of their questions that those who are familiar, I see that Amy is here. We're familiar with the way that we have been running the arts and culture side of things. We always start with a bright spot segment. And today we did not need a bright spot segment because obviously the book festival and JRT are both bright spots in the field. And so we're so glad we were able to feature both of those programming. And thank you both for talking specifically about how you partner with marketing and how those go hand in hand. We appreciate your presentations.
So it looks like we have a question for Udi. Udi, people want to know more about how you kind of choose those 5 main events, and then how do you get the promotion out about all of the other events that you're also doing as part of this program?
It's a good question. Thank you. The 5 event would be usually like what we call the main stage event, where we use our bigger hall, and tickets would cost more money, but revenue is important. So I would spend more effort and time on them in order to get the place full. And our main communication is emails during the on a day-to-day. So all those 40 will go through emails. We will highlight 1 or 2 every time that are not part of the 5. The 5 will get like a dedicated emails. And then we have the schedule spread out in many different places at the JCC, like next to the gym, next to the pool. You know, people can take it. There are QR codes in the elevators, in posters. So people can just go to the schedule of the festival and choose what they like. Yeah, I think that's mainly it.
Thank you. I saw that we had a question coming from the chat. Amy is asking, can you share how far in advance you announce events, put tickets on sale, and when you send out mailers, etc.? And she's also curious, as am I, if you're also doing print brochures and incorporating, or if it's all digital brochures. And I think that can go to both the book festival and JRT about the print brochures.
I can take it first.
Okay, sure.
So we announced our events, I think, fairly, at least for the JRT, since it functions as a professional theater company. We announce our season in the summer every year, and the first show is in October. So our director of performing arts, his name is Adam. He has a committee of volunteers and lay leaders who assist him, and there's an executive producer. His name is Saul Elkin, who God love him. He's very well known in the Buffalo community. He's a longtime UB professor of theater and a founder of the Shakespeare in the Park Festival. It's here every summer. So they are going through plays now already for like next year. So it's always a constant thing, but we release it to the public typically in like July. And then we do mailed brochures to that group that I was talking about. We used to do it to thousands and thousands of people, and it just was very expensive and didn't land. So we send it only to the past 3 years of subscribers. And, those lists, I said, about 400-ish people. There's some of those people are on those lists all 3 years. So it's less than that even. And then we also, have a bunch of brochures. I don't know, Jim, you might know how many we get printed, but we have a bunch that we leave at our membership desks in we have 2 campuses, so both of our buildings, and we leave those there. And then everything else is just on the website and through email and on social media and that kind of thing.
We don't have printed brochures. The only thing printed that I do is those bookmarks, which also have a QR code on them, so you can get to the website and to the schedule through the QR code. That's the only printed material. I have some posters scattered around the JCC, but not printed brochures. And as with most of our event, we try to announce 2 months in advance and start selling tickets. The big push is usually like a month in advance, and even when we announce the festival, we don't have all the events already, things can come, things can be added, or but we have the main structure ready 2 months in advance, I would say.
Thank you. We also had a question. Actually, I'll skip my question. See, I had a question, but now another one came up in the chat that's really good. So, Robin asked, you mentioned working with partners to promote events. How do you decide which partner programmers to reach out to, and who marketing reaches out to? Are your roles different when it comes to working with partners?
So I think some of them, it's based on a personal connection. So if I know someone somewhere, I will just prefer to talk to them and handling it and see the whole promotional deal that we do. I will promote for you, you will promote for me, all kind of those kind of deals. And how I decide, it's a good question. So the first options would be based on as I mentioned in the presentation, based on the theme of the event. So if it's fashion, I go to the Fashion Institute. If it's music, there are a few musical institutions here. Culinary, I work with the Jewish Food Society or some organization like that. I try to do it through the subject matter. And sometimes it's just, asking favors, local synagogue that I ask them to send it to their people. Like I would try to call there's like Heschel, the big Jewish school here. It has thousands of students. So I would I'll give you 50 tickets through the staff and for whatever you want, and you will send it to all the parents, so I tailor a deal with each and every one of the partners. So if it's not based on the subject matter, it would based on the Judaism, or then it would go, I don't know, I can go to a coffee shop next to the street and ask them, do you mind putting those bookmarks here? And I don't know, all kinds. It's really everything I can get.
I'd say for me, when reaching out to partners, so my role really here, I'm the advancement director, so I do all the fundraising, and as far as the JRT is concerned, my role in partnership is a lot of I help our director do a lot of ad sales, and so we reach out a lot to partners that we use here at the JCC a lot. So we have some corporate sponsors, we have vendors who particularly work with the theater, we have our local our federation, our foundation, a couple other synagogues and things like that in the area that support it. I think though something cool about partnerships that we've really developed as well out of COVID, which I didn't really talk about in the slide, but it's an opportunity to do this now, is we have done these panel discussions around each of the shows that have involved something that we have found could be interesting to people. So for instance, around Sisters-in-Law, about Ruth Bader Ginsburg and Sandra Day O'Connor, we had a panel discussion, not on a night that the show was running, but a separate evening. And we had a professor from the University of Buffalo Law School. We had someone who's one of our trustees, who's an attorney. We had one of the actors. And we tried to just have like a really neat discussion around the play to also get people possibly excited to come and see it. And that's worked really well, where we've had 70, 80 people come into the theater, not on a show night, just for that type of an event, and being able to bring people in like that has been really exciting. For Crossing Delancey, since the one character that Izzy ends up falling in love with is a pickle vendor, we partnered with a local pickle company called Barrel and Brine, and they came and did a pickling workshop as part of our panel discussion. So trying to do things that are exciting and interesting and fun, that add to all of those things were free, by the way, that add to your value of being a subscriber to the JRT and feeling like you're getting a good bang for your buck. So I think looking for partnership opportunities like that is key, and has helped us stay fresh and to also bring in some new audiences.
Thank you. Thank you again to Alex and Jim and Udi. We really just appreciate you. We just love when we get to hear from the field and the amazing things everybody is doing. So appreciation for that. We are going to transition into the breakout portion of our meeting. So expect to be in a room with just 4 or 5 people. I know we want to introduce ourselves. We're going to do that part pretty quickly because we're only going to have about 7 or 8 minutes to talk. What we're hoping the dice will do when it randomly floats is that there'll be some marketing professionals and some cultural arts professionals mingled together in these groups. And in the chat, I have just added our questions. So we are going to ask your marketing friends to say, what info do you need and when from your arts colleagues. The arts professionals might talk about what kind of support is really wanted from marketing. And you can both kind of address any stumbling blocks and what really is working. Instead of having full report out sessions like we do from these groups, I'm going to make all of you the scribes instead of one. And we're going to ask everybody just on a scrap of paper or something on their desk or wherever you are to write one takeaway that comes out of the conversation you heard or the conversation from your breakout room that we can flash up on the screen. We might read a couple of these, but this is going to be something you're going to do in the next 2 weeks. I'm going to either meet with my marketing colleague and bring them something or something that comes out of your groups. And so what we'll do is Asher's going to go ahead and put us into breakout rooms, and then we'll see you on the other side. Asher, can you see if we're all back? Have the groups all? Oh, we're 30, probably. Yes. Okay. I think this is our post-show talk. So I hope those conversations were fruitful. I know our room, we were arts heavy on that side, but it was really great because they work so closely with marketing. So we were all able to report on what's effective and where their stumbling blocks are, just challenges that aren't even with our colleagues, but are with like trying to figure out the world and how people are receiving information. First of all, flash your papers if you wrote to do. Thank you, Amanda. Stacy's done one. Emily, good job. Good job. Okay, some people have not yet done it to do, but I still hope you had good conversations. We have time for did anybody feel strongly about something that they learned or wanted to share a takeaway? It's okay if you didn't, but if you did.
Serena has a great note. She just said that her biggest takeaway was Udi stating that he involves all the departments in festival planning and promotion. It helps getting community engagement and she loves it. And I will just say I was incredibly inspired by Udi in this space as well. And Udi, so Udi actually owns the lobby at his JCC. So it was incredibly cool to hear about how arts and culture kind of interviews all of the potential lobby exhibits and polices what is going on in there. So excited to learn more.
Oh, that's funny. I love that too. So anyway, what we're going to do now is just thank everybody for this great session. And Sarah Celeste is here joining us from Israel, and she has some announcements from JCCA. So we're going to turn it over to her, and you'll get to hear what's coming up in the JCCA world.
So thank you, and thank you for letting me be a part of this group. I feel very energized to hear about what you're doing and the passion with which you're doing everything. So I want to bring to your attention 3 opportunities. It's a perfect segue because each of these opportunities are about collaboration. And while we all know that collaboration can take time, we all know that the end result is so much better when we do collaborate. So the first thing I'm going to share with you, and I will put the links in the chat, is the Jewish Film Presenter Network. It's having a Zoom meeting on the 1st of October at 2 p.m. EST. And they're going to introduce new tools for the network to share information, discuss pricing issues, and follow up on some key conference topics. They're going to be hearing from Simple DCP about the program and offerings. So it's an opportunity to share, to learn about Jewish film. The second thing I want to share with you, and I'm very aware of time is short, something called J Live. It's a new initiative that's coming from Detroit. It's almost like JCC and Jewish organizations meet eventing. Eventing is something you're all familiar with, right? It's a platform, a digital platform that enables people to share the events that are happening in their community. Not primarily in-person events, but it can be hybrid events or even Zoom events. And they're offering all JCCs to share on this platform on October, all their events that they're doing around the commemoration of October 7th. As a way of sort of playing around with it, understanding what the potential is. There is a wonderful woman called Michal Nodel in Detroit who is sort of running this program. I'm going to put her information in the chat as well. And she'd be very happy to speak to each and every one of you about how you may want to advertise your event on this platform. And you know what? It may bring in people who happen to be visiting your community who maybe not JCC members, but they happen to be visiting your community during the month of October, November, or December, and may want to come. And I think it will be very exciting. On an ongoing business, they are looking to connect with JCCs and do this throughout the year for their events. But this is a special opportunity for October 7th. And the final thing I want to share with you is you may be familiar with the documentary Screams Before Silence. It's a 60-minute documentary made by Shirley Sandberg. It's about the atrocities of October 7th. And there is a grant opportunity of $1,000 from anonymous donor for the first 20 JCCs who apply. All of this was in the program brief, but I want to give another shout out for it. And there's also additional funding available through the Mitchabrim grants from the Ministry of Diaspora. The application is super simple. The idea is that they really want JCCs not just to screen it, but to create a community event around it by having a speaker or a discussion or some activity together with the screening. And so a very generous $1,000 for the first 20 JCCs who apply. All the information about that is on the JCC Resource Center. Again, it's in the chat. Phew. I did it. And just want to remind everybody that we are a resource for you for anything that you need or we can be helpful with. And I will put my email in the chat too. And wishing you all a continued wonderful day and better times ahead for all of us.
Thanks to everybody for joining us. Thanks to Asher for running things so smoothly on the tech side. Appreciate you all and see you next time, which we don't know when that is, but there'll be a next time.
Yes. And if you have ideas for either the arts and culture cohort or the marketing, your input is always incredibly valuable. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Kimberly, for being my partner in crime as always.
Thanks, Amanda. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.